Hello and welcome back. If you're new to my channel, I make videos about paring down and living with what is currently a 50 item wardrobe. Now, I have 50 items of clothing today, but whenever I started the process of decluttering my wardrobe a few years ago, I had many times that amount. So all of that clothes went somewhere. So today I want to talk about some responsible ways that you can dispose of your clothing. I believe I've heard a statistic where after oil, the fashion industry is the second biggest contributor of pollution in the world. So if you want to cut down on your impact, of course, the best way to cut down on pollution and clothing ending up in landfill is to not buy things in the first place. And I will link here a video that I made in the past on how to change your shopping habits and make more responsible shopping decisions. But if you already have the stuff, there are useful and responsible ways to dispose of your clothing, which I'm going to talk about today. I have a few ways of donating your clothing, which may be new to some of you. It may be things you haven't considered in the past. I also have a couple of easy ways to sell your clothing if you want to get some money back on the items that you've already purchased. And of course, you can recycle your clothing, which I'll talk about at the end as well. So let's get into it. The first donation strategy that I want to talk about is to donate professional looking clothing to nonprofit organizations like Dress for Success. If you've never heard of Dress for Success, it is a nonprofit that accepts professional clothing donations, and they take those clothes and outfit women who are entering professional workforce situations with that clothes for free. So if you're decluttering your wardrobe and you have things like suits that you don't wear, or shift dresses, suiting dresses, blouses, nice shoes, professional bags, even gently used bras or unused hosiery, they will accept those items and then allow women in need who are going on interviews or starting new jobs to be able to get that clothing for free. Now, for any guys out there watching, I have heard of a similar male equivalent called Sharp Dressed Man. I believe they were out of Baltimore. I saw a video for them online, but if you do a quick Google search, you can probably find other equivalents out there like Dress for Success for men. So if you have professional clothing, consider donating your professional clothing to an organization like that. Another really valuable way to donate your clothes is to make those donations to women's shelters, children's shelters, shelters in general. Now, clothing, of course, is always a welcome donation at places like that, but especially women and children's shelters in particular, I know also accept household goods. A lot of times people who are in women's shelters are women fleeing abusive relationships, and they don't have time to take everything from their house and bring household goods with them. And so I've made donations in the past to a women's shelter in my area, not just clothing, but also household goods, things like shower curtain rods and shower curtains themselves, curtains, bedding, mattresses that aren't used or are very gently used or always in high demand. But if you have a shelter in your area that you want to make donations to, I recommend you check out their website first, because a lot of them can be particular about the types of items that they accept. So find a shelter in your area, view their website, or give them a call and see what they're in need of. And if they need clothing items or other household items that you are donating, then that can be a great place to make those donations. Another way that you can donate your clothing is to donate them to a thrift store. Now, here in the United States, I think Goodwill is sort of the first thrift store that many of us might think of, but I actually prefer Savers because I think they're a little bit more responsible about recycling items that they don't sell, but that is a different topic. But before going to one of those big thrift stores, there are charity shops out there, thrift stores that are associated with a particular charity or cause that I like to donate my clothes to first. That way you can get rid of your clothes, somebody else can buy them, and then the sale of those clothing items will go towards the charity or cause that you support. The next useful and responsible way to get rid of clothing that you're decluttering is to sell them. Now, I mentioned donations first because my personal priority whenever I'm decluttering my closet is to get those items out of my house as quickly as possible. So the path of least resistance for me is donation. But if you want to recoup the cost of some of your clothing items, then selling it is a really good way to do that. And there are a few easy ways to get some of that cost back. The first thing I want to mention are sort of consignment stores, or stores that will buy your clothing from you, like Buffalo Exchange or I remember one called Plato's Closet, and there may be other regional variations. You probably know the ones that are in your area. But these are places where you can take a bag of clothing, they will sort through them and decide what they will buy from you and give back what they won't. And then they will offer some amount of money for the clothing that they want to buy from you. Now places, I know that Buffalo Exchange in particular will give you cash, store credit, or you can donate the money that they pay you for your clothes to a charity that they are associated with. So if you want to make your donation go even further, you can take that money and donate it to a charity that they're associated with that you prefer. Other ways that you can sell your clothes easy ways to sell your clothes are to sell them to places like thredUP, which is a clothing subscription service, or use something like eBay Valet. Now, I haven't used either of these, but a friend of mine has used thredUP and she wasn't horrified by it. So thredUP is a clothing subscription service, but the clothes that their subscribers receive are actually things that people have sent to thredUP gently, or like new items that people have sent to thredUP. They provide those people with money, they pay you for your clothes, and then they send that clothing out to people who subscribe to their service. I believe you can go to their website and order a bag that they will send to you. You fill it with clothes, send it to thredUP, and similar to something like Buffalo Exchange, they will give you some amount of money for the clothes that you send to them. There's also something called eBay Valet. Again, I've never used it, but it seems like a similar premise where you pack up a box of stuff, send it to them, they will decide what they will create postings for you, and then they will send you back the items that they're not going to sell for you. I believe that I looked at their website just a second ago, and I think that they will leave postings up for 60 days, and depending on how much the item sells for, they will give you some percentage of the money from that sale. Now, if creating a posting and selling things online is not something you're really averse to, then I think that can be a really good way to get more of the money back in your pockets. But I think there are a couple of steps that you might want to take to make sure that those items actually get out of your house eventually. So first, I recommend, of course, you create that posting as soon as possible. And then take whatever items you are selling on whatever website and put them in a box and keep that box in a place that you can't ignore. That way, those clothing items don't become something that just live and die in the corner of your closet. It becomes something you have to actually take action on. And then after you've posted that item online, if it doesn't sell, give yourself a deadline that you're going to take that posting down and donate those clothes in another way, or get rid of those clothes in another way, like donating. The last responsible way to get rid of your clothes that I want to talk about is to recycle them. Now, a while ago, I would donate just about anything. I thought, like, surely this can be used by somebody else. But a lot of thrift stores will say that anything that they can't sell will be recycled or donated to developing countries. And that sounds great on the surface. Then I watched the documentary called The True Cost. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix, go check it out. But they show how a lot of thrift stores, in order to technically fulfill that promise, will just dump all the clothing that they do not sell on the shores of Haiti. And in that documentary, they show the docks of Haiti just covered in pallets and pallets of crap donated clothes that didn't sell in US thrift stores. And so now I am a lot more selective about the things that I donate because I don't want to continue contributing to that problem. And so for me, if there's anything wrong with a piece of clothing, if it's faded, if the zipper on a pair of pants that I'm going to be recycling very soon, if something doesn't work, I don't sort of donate them and hope that somebody's going to like the item enough to fix those problems with it. I donate those immediately I recycle those immediately. Now, I am fortunate to live in a place that has really accessible textile and household recycling. But if you live in a place where you aren't aware of a service like that, I recommend calling 311 or your municipal recycling service and asking if they have a way to donate textiles. A lot of places probably will, or I've even noticed in shopping centers or the parking lots of grocery stores, sometimes there are big boxes that look like, I don't know, giant trash cans sort of, where you can throw clothing in there and they will recycle it for you. And a lot of textiles can be recycled into things like household insulation, insulation for cars, carpet pads, cleaning rags, things like that. And so if you want to give your clothes a second life, you don't want it to go directly into landfill, but you know nobody's going to get value out of it, please recycle it. Those are all of the useful and responsible ways to get rid of clothing that I had to share with you today. If any of those are new methods for you, great, give them a try. They've been really useful for me. And if you've heard of all of these methods and they're all old hat for you, maybe this could be a reminder of some of the different options out there if you're not already implementing all of them. The only other thing that I want to share is that this month, in the month of January, I am playing the Minimalist game, and I will pop a link in the description down below if you want to read more about it. But essentially the premise is that on day 1 of the month, you get rid of one thing. On day 2 of the month, you get rid of 2 things. And then on day 31 of the month, you get rid of 31 things in that day. So for the month of January, if I tallied it up right, I think I'll be getting rid of 496 items this month, which is kind of scary right now. But again, it's been really fun and I am excited. And it's a good opportunity for me to sort of give my closet a break and focus on the rest of my house. So that has been good, and I've been filming it, so if everything goes according to plan, I will post a video about that when I'm done. But I think that's all for me. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.